Okay, people. So when looking for stuff to watch this week, I stumbled upon wedding season. Right. So this is, and it's that typical story, but with a slightly different lilt to it. Right. It is directed by Tom Dey. It is written by uh, Shiwani Srivastava. Who knows if I pronounce? I'm gonna. There's a lot of names I am going to butcher right now, people. Um, so Wati Shetty produced it. It's executive produced by Matt Code, Jake Fuller, Brian Grazer, Ron Howard, Ryan N. Murphy, and John Rhodes. Music is from Janik Bont Bontemps and Arashi Kulkarni. Cinematography is Meena Singh. It is edited by David L. Bertman. Casting is Stephanie Gorin and Jessica Kelly. Production design is Danielle Sahuta. Set decoration is Ansha Gupal and J.R. Grasby. Costume design is Courtney Mitchell. Um, Makeup, hair, all of that jazz. Fake Crasto, Katrina Desportovich, Kirsten Gallagher, Ting Fang Lee, Alistair Muir, Ashley Vieira, and Nigel James White. Our cast. Well, we have got Asha, who is played by Pallavi Sharda. Um, who else do we have? Um, she. I don't know who her parents are. Da, 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 da. Um. Okay, I think her mum is Sunita, played by Veena Sood, and her dad is Vijay, played by Rizwan Manji. Then there's Ravi, okay, played by Suraj Sharma. Um, doo, 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 doo. His mum, I don't know, but Ash's sister Priya is played by Arina Afsar, and her fiance is Nick, played by Sean Keeler. Um, we've got Tina, played by Ruth Goodwin, and James, played by Damian Thompson. They are Ash's work colleagues. We've got Dinesh, played by Manjo Sood. I believe that is Ravi's dad. And then there's Yoshi, played by Julius Choi, and that is Ravi's um, work partner, friend, right? Um, yeah, I feel that's it. Oh, I think Ravi's mum is Veena, who is played by Sonia Dillon Tully. Okay, I think. I might be wrong. But that's generally it. Now the gist of the film is this, okay? persuaded by their immigrant parents to find spouses, two Indian Americans pretend to date in order to survive a summer of weddings, but find themselves falling for each other as they struggle to balance who they are with who their parents want them to be. So that's it. Now, as I said, look, this is it's slightly different from the norm because we're dealing with like Indian characters. It's an Indian story, you know, which it makes it a little bit different, you know. But and it's kind of nice to see like these kind of usual stories, but through different eyes, right? Or even though it's essentially played beat for beat like every other iteration of, but it makes it a little bit different to view it and watch it and enjoy it, all of that. Now, right, they I do often scratch my head with these things because the rationale behind everything leaves you like, wait, what? That makes no sense. What is going on? You know what I mean? It's a little bit baffling, ain't gonna lie, right? Because they're both going on these weddings, right? They make this arrangement, but you kind of feel with anything like that, you'd be like, okay, so we would need to know certain things if questions come up, right? Because questions, like if you're going to all of these situations, these social situations, and everyone's in each other's business, they're going to ask you certain things, right? So the logic would be, okay, so where did you go to school? What did you do? Bum, bum, bum. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. First love. Have you ever been in love? Like, you know what I mean? Just simple shit, right? Which would have gotten to the bottom of a lot of the stuff that they then throw out there as like, oh no, which is kind of insane, right? Kind of insane. And the other crazy thing I find, they create this hurdle, right? This thing comes up and they create this hurdle. But a hurdle it's never even a hurdle, right? Like you have these people and then you go, oh, and now they're in love. But one little thing, right? It's always one little thing that then sends it all crashing down, right? Before, the inevitable happens. But you just think, what? Right? It kind of makes it look like a relationship is so fragile that, one little thing is going to destroy it, right? Because look, everyone's going to have secrets, or not necessarily even secrets. There's just things that you don't necessarily think about talking about, maybe straight away, or it's just one of those things. It's like to you, it's just like whatever. Now, if someone actually asked you a certain question, you'd be like, oh. Oh, right. So yeah, I guess blah blah blah, and it would just be there, right? Which we know is a thing. But then the way it gets played out here and in all of these sort of stories is this thing is just so insane and it's gonna end everything. And you never have people go, okay, well, that's, whatever. I mean, you've proven over the course of, said amount of time what kind of person you are, right? You've done this, you've helped me with this, like we've shared these moments. It's all fine, you know? But maybe let's talk about some other things. Let's see. Like, okay, let's tell each other this, let's do this, boom, boom, boom. You never get that. But then you get the grand gesture, and it's just like, oh, I want you to know, blah blah blah, and you're just like, what the fuck? Because if that one thing was enough for you to be like, we can't see each other now. But then all it takes is someone to go, oh, blah, blah, blah. Then it's just like, your relationship ain't worth shit, right? The moment something else happens, then you're over. You know, it's insane. It really is insane, right? It makes no sense. You have other things. There's a crazy thing at the beginning of the film where this guy turns up, right? Turns up at Asha's work, and you're just like, firstly, that ain't like that person ain't getting past security, right? They're not getting in the building. This is like these things happen, and you just be like, what? That's never gonna happen, right? The whole Singapore thing here, right? You're just like, hold on a second. If you're doing this big presentation, you would know the answer to the question they ask, right? Like when you're creating these things, these pictures, you would go, okay, so the ask is this, but what's the story, right? You'd know the answer. It's not a difficult fucking question. It's crazy that that is the impetus of this film, right? That's one of the driving points here. But you're just like, that's not a thing. Like, that's not a thing. And then the whole leapfrog with the job and all of that, you again, not happening. Right? The people that write these things, these stories, the grasp on reality is a bit insane. Right? When look, you don't have to have it so crazy like that, right? Just a normal situation is fine. You know, like if you just played it out normally, how life be, right? Right, you can sprinkle a little something on top, but you don't have to go over the top, right? It's still a good story. Well, I mean, it's a played out story, but it's still going to have people be like, "That's nice," right? Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna say I look. It's fine. The story here is fine. You know, like there's definitely like some nice little touching moments, you know, like the whole Nick Prius speech at the wedding, you know, is definitely just was caught me a little bit. It caught me a little bit. I wasn't expecting that shit. You feel me? Right? That was nice. And there's other nice moments and just all of this kind of thing. You know, the message is pure. You know, be yourselves. Don't let other people, right, determine, you know, your path, your love, just all of this, right? That's there. That's cool. Whatever. You know, I will say, right, someone else's wedding isn't a moment for you to fucking grandstand, right? It's insane how they put these bits in. And it's just like, yo, that's someone else's wedding, man. You're just upstaging their fucking wedding. What are you doing? Right? These things could be done with a phone call, like before or after. Didn't have to happen there and then, you know? It's kind of crazy. Listen, if you enjoyed, because this is a very similar story to the wedding year, right? So that was man, that came out in 2019. Man, it just feels like the other year that I watched that. Right? It's on Prime. Um, and yet it's a very similar thing, right? There's some slight differences, but it's a similar thing. So if you enjoyed the wedding year, I think you're gonna enjoy wedding season. You know, look, any of those films that deal with weddings and love and all of that, if that's your jam, then yeah, wedding season will work for you, people. Will work for you. You know, there's some fun music. You know, look, it's not going to surprise you in any way, but it's still a little sweet. It's a little cute. You know, people. It's on Netflix. All right. So if you enjoy that, boom. After Indian Matchmaker season 2, which I just saw dropped, right? Boom. You can watch the fictional thing, right? And yeah, get yourself wedding season.